You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Weeds. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Weeds news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Weeds.
What up, AfterBuzzers? It's your boy DJ Jesse Janity here in the studio. Oh, that wasn't your cue, David.
Oh, sorry.
Frigged it all up. Oh man. All right.
Fine, do it again. Start over.
All right. Yo, what up, AfterBuzzers? It's your boy DJ Jesse Janity here in the studio, and I'm here joined by Sing It.
Sing what? David Skiffality.
That was so boring.
I'm choking.
What are you choking on?
Air.
You were playing with the beads before.
It
That's what
sounds
happened.
like rain, though.
Okay, so David's lost it.
I'm a little high. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding.
David's completely lost it right now. Welcome.
I've lost it.
Welcome, children, to the Weeds After Show here at AfterBuzz TV Studios.
Oh, not special.
All right, so this was an awesome episode.
Great episode.
And today's a really special day. Do you know why today's a special day?
Is it happened to do with the fact?
Was that like your 7-Eleven voice?
Yes.
Or?
Let me put that
What
back
does
out
it
there.
have to
Does
do
it?
with
Oh my God, no.
Please tell me.
You're gonna offend all
I'm
the
not
Indian
offending
people out
anybody.
there, by the way.
Okay, you just called it out.
Anyway, does it have to do with the fact that Serial Buddies premieres tonight?
Premieres tonight. It's actually premiering right now as we speak. This podcast. Our very own creators of AfterBuzz TV, Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, are in Boston right now. In Boston, my hometown, with producer Phil Svitek, your favorite AfterBuzz TV host Courtney Stewart, Paul Ashton, and many more. They're actually in Boston right now, premiering the movie Serial Buddies. It is the first ever serial killer buddy comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing movie.
You've seen it
Yes, I have.
many times.
Many, many, many times.
I'm sure to the point of exhaustion.
Yes, I'm sure they're... You know what, though? I don't get sick of it. There's some movies... You know, there's some movies you can watch once and you're like, okay, I'm
And you're
done.
like, I've seen enough.
Then there's other ones you can watch it all the time and like be into it, or there are other movies where you can put them on all the time and it can just always be on in the background. It makes you feel comfortable. It's one of those movies. You know, you've watched it, you find something new every time.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I'm so excited to see it.
I wish I could be out there, but someone's got to run AfterBuzz.
Well, it might as well be you.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Got to put the DJ in charge.
Everything's gonna fall apart.
So congratulations to everyone out in Boston right now. Let's get back to some weeds.
Let's do
And
that.
I apologize. My nose is very stuffy right now. So please bear with me, folks.
Bear with DJ Jesse Janity. I did offer him some medicine and he turned me down. He laughed at my face and was like, I'm drinking Jasura, the blood of life.
Juiceroo.
Whatever.
And you offered me crystal meth.
I did not.
No.
I did not.
Okay, on air now it's not. What is it? Tylenol? Tylenol does not come with
No.
syringes.
Oh my God, you are painting a horrible image of me. I do not do drugs.
Right, and just like we found out he's Jewish and has a Jesus tattoo on him.
I hate you so hard right now.
All right.
These are all facts. Those are facts.
Yes, they are. Okay. So, Great intro today. Didn't
Kill
make
you.
sense at first until we watched the episode. The intro was a broken computer screen with a bunch of weed bags, and it said weeds on the computer.
Not my favorite.
Not my favorite, but it was the first where, I believe it was the first where they actually included the intro as a part of the scene, as a part of the actual show.
Yeah.
Because Silas actually moved the computer down, and they didn't cut to the scene which they played at the beginning.
Right.
I thought that was cool.
I mean, it was interesting to see them incorporate the actual prop that they used in the opening scene as part of the show, but I thought it was one of their weaker openings. It wasn't, I mean, it was kind of like whatever.
It wasn't no Coke can.
No cocaine, which I have still to see.
Oh, right. Because someone came late.
I was early. You started it even earlier than I showed up. Okay?
All right.
We're going to put that out there, too, that I'm always on time.
No, he's never on time. He's always before the time.
That's on time.
No.
Early is on time.
No, that is...
In my book.
Okay, please call in 424-256-1729. We probably won't pick up your phone call. But
Most likely not.
Just kidding. Give us a phone call. I just finished the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show. And it's very rude to show up before you're supposed to because you're coming in during prepping time. What if I was cooking hors d'oeuvres?
I would... First of all, when have you ever cooked hors d'oeuvres?
Oh, I believe you had some of my saltwater taffy, which I slaved over
You
the show.
slaved over the marshmallows, and you were smushing them together with
What
flavor.
if I wanted to surprise you one week and made weed brownies?
I would be, I would enjoy the thought.
Maybe for it's
I would
next week's the
appreciate
season
the thought.
finale.
It is the season finale.
We'll be high on weed brownies.
No, we won't. I don't do drugs.
Right.
I don't.
Sure. Okay.
Oh my
so
God.
we started the episode out with this like Charlie's Angels
It was awesome.
I really like the cutting of the cameras with this. Silas and Nancy calling each other's clients, basically.
Well, calling their clients,
Yeah.
really.
because now they're not working together. Basically trying to steal all the clients for themselves. When in reality, they're just kind of screwing each other over because now everyone, it amazes me how natural Nancy is when talking about weed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not secretive about it at all. She boldly, whips it out in public, having board meetings about it. As we saw with these phone calls, these people were sketched out who's calling me right now talking about this? Are you serious?
Well, I mean, they're dealers. They have to be comfortable with the fact that with what they're dealing, literally and figuratively.
Right, with what they're dealing, but not when dealing with other people.
That's true, I guess.
You never know
A little subtlety couldn't hurt.
who's a narc. Narc is one of my favorite words.
Is it? I'm an arc.
Dude, why are you not? It all started back in the day. Actually, this is kind of a drug story. A kid in my high school was
Actually a policeman.
narked on for selling weed, and I've never heard the word narc before until he said, "Dude, why would you narc on me?" And ever since he said it like that, I loved it, fell in love with it.
Was he a surfer?
He was.
I love that voice.
Um,
You should do that voice instead of your British accent. It's much better.
oh, the British one just flows off my tongue though.
Oh,
Okay. So Silas and Nancy, they're going back and forth trying to steal each other's clients.
We're trying to hoard the clients for themselves. And they are calling people left and right. And then Nancy calls the modeling agent that Silas had first met up with at the beginning of the season to ask for a favor. And she talks to her about going into business together and sort of figuring out a way that they can work together the same way that Silas and her work together, with Silas having models as his messengers. And later on, I mean, I think we should just go on with Nancy's story at the moment. I mean, later on we see Nancy at the loft with Shane and the modeling agent that we met earlier in the season, and they're renovating the apartment, and they are discussing paint colors and getting things figured out. And I think Jesse, now I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, I had to get some of our AfterBuzz hosts for the next shows.
No, you just made me lose my train of thought when you walked back in.
Well, you were talking about how Nancy basically has like headquarters now.
Yes, that's basically it. She set up headquarters.
I like this. I like where it's going.
I do too.
I like this Nancy. I do.
The go-getter worker Nancy.
Yeah.
Worker bee Nancy.
I also love Shane. I love Shane and Nancy working together.
I do too. I think it's fantastic.
It's just, they're fun. They're vibrant. Silas is just this like,
you hate Silas so
do.
hard, but
And it's
he's
funny
gonna
because
figure things out soon. I
he
know
is.
He is.
He's gonna figure out next episode, I believe. But we'll save that for predictions.
Okay.
But yeah, like I don't know. I've always liked Silas, but this season it's just like
He's rubbing you the wrong way.
the thing with stories are, I can appreciate it when it makes sense, but this doesn't make sense to me. Everything he says, everything he complains about Nancy is just like, you're being so general and you're being selfish and thinking only of yourself. Only of yourself. Because if Nancy was thinking only of herself, do you think she would be living the life she's living?
No, not at all. But you have to also put it into perspective. The last 3 years of his life, his mother was in jail. He was living overseas with his brother.
In jail, why though?
To cover for her younger son, not for him.
No, but to cover for one of her children.
Right. No, I get that. But still, put yourself in his shoes, right? His mother is in jail. Ooh, the pen. That was fun for me. I lost it. His mother was in jail. He's living overseas with his brother and his uncle and a random family friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to work on his own and figure things out for himself and for his brother and take care of them as an older brother would do. I mean, technically we don't know if that actually happened, but for the past 3 years of his life, he's had to take care of himself. There was no one else there to take care of him. He had to find his own way.
Well, he had Andy.
I mean, did he? Andy had his own business.
His own business.
Quote unquote.
It just, to me, it looked like Silas found an easy way out over there.
Well, he found something that he could do with minimal effort and get paid a lot of money. I mean, doesn't everybody want that?
Well, and so he's blaming Nancy, and that's exactly what she's
now
doing.
he's blaming Nancy, and it's not necessarily the right thing to do, but maybe it's his way of coping with what's happened in the past.
One scene.
I feel for him.
Mm-mm.
I can relate.
Really? Why don't you speak on it?
No, that's okay.
Is your mother a drug lord?
No.
A Jewish Jesus-loving drug lord?
I hate you.
All right. One scene that I really liked was when Nancy was like remodeling her new
loft
headquarters. Shane walked in and the whole yes mother.
Yes, mother.
Yes, mother. And she's like, don't say it like that, it's freaky. Yes, mother. That's what Mari and I were talking about last week. He just has this evil undertone about him, and it's just like, we see it later in the episode when he goes and visits the detective and brings his stepson. And the stepson,
such
like,
a genius scene.
The stepson was just like, yeah, you know, I came, I said hi, now give me, what was it, money?
An eighth.
An eighth. Oh, for an eighth of weed, really, people.
Mm-hmm.
Give me my eighth back.
No, give me an
eighth. And Shane basically said, you'll get your eighth, but you're going to be happier. If you're not happy, I'm going to find you at your next softball game, and I'm going to break your kneecaps.
Track game.
Track
Track meet.
Okay. Do you want to tell the story? And I'm going to break your knees.
Kneecaps.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding now.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Skifflita will be taking over for the weeds.
No, I won't. You're doing a very good job. I'm just helping you.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. That whole scene with the stepson was awesome.
That was so funny.
And again, it just shows Shane is thinking, using his brain, hopping all over the place.
He's a lot smarter than anyone gives him credit for, including me.
Yeah, because you were kind of a...
I'm not necessarily a big Shane fan.
No. Love Shane.
But I can see the appeal. Unlike you.
Anyways. Again, why I love Nancy right now, I love that she went straight for the model, the agency. And she did
Well, I mean, Silas had such a great idea about having the models be the messengers.
But it was a half-assed idea.
But it was a half-assed idea, and she took it to the next level.
Yes. And which it just shows it's like, you know, you should have stuck with your mother because the two of you guys together, your mom never took anything. Oh, well, here's my, I guess we'll just get into the whole pie of it. But, like, Silas was always upset with how the percentage that his mother would always share. And it's like, everything your mother does, ideally, is really for all of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's looking at it as if you're never going to go anywhere. We're always going to be together. Mistake on her behalf, because you have to understand, like, Silas is getting older.
Right.
And he needs to, at one point, he will go off. I don't think she's thinking that. I think she's thinking, like, she lost her husband, and she's just trying to keep her family together. And that's all that's in Nancy's head, keeping my family together. That's all she cares about. And now, at the point where Silas is getting older, he's meeting girls, and he might break off, she's not prepared for that. She's not thinking that in her head that that's even a realistic thing. For her to say, yeah, you get 8%, it's like an allowance. You have this money, what do you need it for? Because what I'm going to do with the money is I'm going to buy more so we can get more product, and she's basically feeding the money into the business. She's not out buying random things. She's not spending it on anything.
That's very true.
Other than the business.
Yeah.
She bought...
and living expenses.
Right, but always for the family.
Right.
Everything Nancy does is about keeping the family together, and it's all just hitting me now, thinking about the psychology behind the death of her husband and how she dealt with it. She just ran away and took her family and felt, I have to support my family. She never tried to find help by, you know, getting into another relationship and building another family. She tried to, but every time she did it, it was half-assed, and it
was more for the benefit of her kids.
Right.
Always.
So, yeah, this idea with the model agency, you know, she goes into Doug's job, and I love it. You know, she only uses the female models.
I mean, she goes into Doug's office building to pitch an idea about getting a loan, I think. I mean, why else would she be there? She would need money for a startup.
Yeah, they need money for the startup. She needs money for the initial startup.
Right. And then she would pay back, and then she would invest with them.
Well,
all
no,
profits.
because what they're trying to do is get the money back in their system that what's his name, the CEO had taken.
Right. So they need liquid assets, is what they say.
Yes,
and they need them now,
which she can provide
quickly.
Mm-hmm. You know, so she puts she went to Long Island last weekend. And, you know, she has this idea of the little fancy boxes, the beautiful models.
Mm-hmm. I think she calls it targeting the luxury clientele.
Yes.
And what they're going to do is have two different colored box tops, where one has a full body high and one has a cerebral high, I think they talked about. And they're going to have models as delivering as the messengers, but in town cars, which I think is a nice added touch. And you also have to be a member, which I think is quite interesting. And that they teamed up with a PR agency to get the word out.
Genius.
So there's membership fees that you have to pay on top of having to pay for the product. I mean, it's sort of a great branding. They're already getting calls for people to join their exclusive club, and they're just turning everybody down. I mean, it's the quickest and best way to get people.
And there's so many people involved that, I mean, I'm kind of almost getting into predictions, but as we see next week, her plan might be disheveled. But there's so many people involved, and it's so well put together.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be the difference in which Nancy said, "I'm the mommy, you're a little girl."
To Emma,
talking about the way she deals with business and the way Emma's Pouncy House business was wrong.
right?
So we'll see though. Silas is pissed. He meets up with Emma at her place.
Who's been bailed out
Ridiculous.
miraculously and kicked out of law school.
Kicked out of law school, and then as soon as she opens the door and sees him, like, gives him like the most weakest punch ever. Like, I'm mad at you. Oh, I'm so upset.
But you just hit the mic. It was a very playful, flirty punch.
And it's like, bitch, you lost everything you had.
Literally.
Your name is a disgrace now,
Mm-hmm.
and you were kicked out of college.
Law school, in fact.
Um,
I mean, good luck getting a job now.
First of all, he deserves, like,
Ever.
if he ever knocked at my door, a knife would be involved. Like, bitch, what did you do? Like, yelling at him. I mean, that was just really unrealistic to me, unless she's like head over heels in love with him. Basically, Silas apologizes to her and wants her customers. She's like, why would I give that to you? Because you hate my mother just as much as I do right now.
Right.
She's like, let's work together, and if you need some place to stay,
You can stay here. I mean, that doesn't all happen before they sleep with each other. That all happens after.
right,
they
no,
sleep
the
with
best
each other.
orgasm in the world.
Anyways.
Young love, huh?
Young love. You can't trust it.
Again, just like a moment I want to slap Silas. I just can't stand him. Andy.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know
I
how
was
to
waiting to
go
see
into
where
the
you were
segue.
going.
The segue with it.
Okay.
So basically, Silas wants Andy on his team.
Right.
Says you have a really great personality. I feel like you can rack everybody up. I'll give you 25%. I thought to myself, you're giving her 20%.
I thought the same thing.
He's family, and you're only going to give him 5% more.
Well, he's giving her 20% for her client base, which
Mm.
is fine, whatever. He's giving Andy 25%. That really only leaves 55% left for him, and then he's going to have to pay his messengers.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to pay for product. And now that he's out on his own, he's going to have to pay for living expenses. I mean, what is going to be left at the end of the day? There's going to be nothing left for him.
Right.
Unless they are jacking up the price so high that they're going to be making an excess of profit, which I don't think, or so he thinks.
Well, yes. So Andy kind of shops the price around, goes to Nancy and says, oh, well, Silas is giving me 25%. She said, I'll give you 8.
She's so realistic with him and so like matter of fact. That's nice. I'll give you 8. And he says it twice. But I'm getting 25. And she's like, that's nice. I'll give you 8.
Which, again, sort of makes sense. I mean, look at who she's paying.
Right.
She's running a company. I'll give you 8%. You live with me anyways, so you don't have to pay for housing. You know,
I mean, she does have like an empire that she has
and
to
8%
pay
for
for.
what they're getting paid. I mean, that's a pretty...
That's a pretty penny. I mean, especially if she's selling these tiny little boxes for $500 a pop.
Right. So Andy's mad at her, goes back to Silas. Silas and Andy are mad at Nancy. So they say, oh, and Andy tells Silas about the models.
Right.
And the PR agency. So Silas is mad at that and says, oh, let's go get her weed guy. Oh, no, before that, nope, just kidding. So Silas and Andy go to Dimitri's apartment. And Andy is just like, has this weird fetish and wants to like touch Dimitri's bicep.
Just once, he says. I just want to touch his bicep once.
And then, so they go to Dimitri's apartment. This awkward conversation about how Andy wants to screw his sister.
Sister.
But kind of not.
And then he touches his bicep.
And basically, they tried to get Dimitri to side with them and sell
them the weed because they're running low on supply. And Haley is not going to be there for another 2 days.
Right. So Dimitri says, "No, I can't. I don't want to piss Nancy off. Sorry." Come to find out, Nancy was already beat him to the punch and was already in the apartment. Very upset and couldn't believe how harsh Silas is being.
Well, how cutthroat
Yeah.
I think he's being. And I don't think she expected him to go that far.
So
And she says that she's pissed. She says, I'm way past feeling guilty about anything now.
right, and so leading Dimitri to think, okay, I can handle this.
All right, I'll take care of it.
So Halia and Dean are driving, surprising Silas. It was supposed to be a messenger, but instead they showed up. And basically,
They get jacked.
yeah, they get jacked.
In Halia's words, they get jacked.
Dean gets beat up, ended up in the hospital. All their weed is stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, it was Dimitri's boys. Nancy's very pissed about this. This is not what she wanted. She tried to call Silas, left him a message, which clearly Silas did not listen to.
No, he did listen to it. I'm almost positive that he did listen to it.
I don't think so.
And that was the scene that he was sitting on the bed with Emma and he was smoking. And he was like, my mother did this to me.
Well, if that was the case, she would have said she said there was a mistake here.
Right, but I think that he knows what happened to a certain extent, and he knows that it has to do with Nancy, and he jumps to conclusions.
Right.
He never follows through with anything, so he jumped to the wrong conclusion, thinking that she was involved, even though she clearly wasn't and had no idea that Dimitri was doing this.
So Silas is pissed.
To say the least.
To say the least, Haley is pissed. And Silas says, don't react. Just wait a minute. Give me some time. I'll handle this. I have no idea what he's doing.
I don't know what he thinks he's doing. This is your mother.
Right.
One. Like, you can be as angry as you want with her.
Well,
but there is a certain extent that you take things out on your mother, and there is a time and a place, and you don't do what he's doing to his mother.
He felt that she took what was the one thing that he loved? Or something like that. He said, so I'm going to take the one thing that she wants. Obviously, Stevie.
Right.
I don't understand the judge calling Nancy and saying all of this stuff.
Well, I think the judge called Nancy and got an update from her lawyer, and the lawyer sent out showing that she's been working steadily, she's back together, she's getting her life back together, and she has money coming in, and she's living in the same place, and she's not quote-unquote dealing anymore.
Do you think that was actually the lawyer that sent that, or?
I think so. I think that the lawyer gets an update. I mean, she would have to. She would still technically be on probation. Wouldn't she? Or did the SEC clear all that?
I believe the FCC cleared all of that.
Well, either way, I mean, she had a recommendation letter from the office that she worked at, a glowing recommendation letter. Clearly, whether or not that was manufactured or not doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. They're trying to help her get her son back, and this is just a means to an ends, really, I think.
So, we see that. Then we see Silas he didn't go to California, right? He just picked.
I thought he was on his way to the airport to leave, but I think he just picked up Jill.
Jill,
At the
who is
airport.
Nancy's sister, who was very excited and said, "You're doing the right thing."
I hate that bitch.
Hate her too. So we're gonna cut to a commercial break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about predictions. Very excited for this. So I will TTYL.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
Get your AfterBuzz on, yeah.
Oh, I'm getting my AfterBuzz on. You don't even know.
All day and all night.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Predictions.
All right, so
Predictions.
thoughts. Part of me, like when the whole lawyer thing happened, I was like, really, all this is happening at the same exact time?
I mean, it was very clever to start off the episode like that and end the episode like that. It's like a movie when you start off with the credits and you end with the credits. It's just a way to bookend something.
No, I was gonna say the whole, oh, your lawyer sent me papers and all this stuff. Part of me felt like maybe Silas sent that, so it's like teasing Nancy. You're gonna get your kid back, and then bam, like a real sucker.
That
lower
would be
blow.
so screwed up. If Silas sent those papers off to the judge, posing as the lawyer, and then calls Jill in from California. I mean, who knows? Does he even know that Emma went to the police?
Well, we see she goes next week.
No, that was this week.
Was it?
Uh-huh. She was there this week telling them. Or was it next week?
No, it's for next week. Next week, Emma goes to the police and basically says she wanted,
that Silas was never involved with Pouncy House, and the reason why Nancy wanted Pouncy House out of the way is because she wanted to get rid of the competition. And she tells that to the detective that Shane has been working with.
which is going to get so twisted because it's like, well, how do you prove that? Because the reality is now, if we look at it, Silas is living with you.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I mean, there could be another bust. I mean, that's the only way that he could prove it is if he caught her.
Right. Which I'm hoping Nancy moves out quick enough.
Well, we saw at the end of this episode she was looking at an apartment.
Right. So hopefully she gets all her stuff out quick enough. And she is smart because she doesn't keep the drugs at her house.
No.
It's always everything's separate with her.
Well, it's the best way for her to run her business. She's been doing this for a long time now.
Right.
And she was with that guy from the DEA, and she knows where the best place to keep her product is and how to run a business at this point.
So what do you think is going to happen next week? It's our season finale. I can't even believe it's
I know.
Over. Oh, they know how to leave us. She
They
better
really-
not get arrested. I don't want another back in jail or...
I don't think Nancy's going to get arrested. Not
Me
again.
neither.
I
No.
think she's too smart to get arrested again. I think she'll find a way around it. Or
You think Shane's going to get...
we might see Shane stepping up to the plate and helping her out.
How would you feel about Silas being arrested? Although it looks like next week Silas says, I made a big mistake.
Yeah.
And realizes,
That he's been doing something wrong.
Right.
And he's siding with the wrong woman.
Right. And I also wonder, remember last week with Mari Fago, one of our AfterBuzz hosts, was in studio last week. I wonder how it's going to play out that Emma knows of Nancy beforehand.
Oh, right. I mean, maybe that's going to come into play in the season finale, or perhaps they're waiting to expound on that until the next season.
Right. So I don't know. No idea how this is going.
Neither
to
do
play
I.
out.
I mean, they didn't give us much.
I love that Andy says, you know what, I'm staying neutral, sorry.
Well, because you know what? We didn't even talk about the fact that he, in this episode, got a phone call from the guy who had cancer, who
Swingers.
he had been seeing his wife earlier in the season, the artist, and he got a phone call, a recorded phone call from her husband saying that he was dead and his presence was requested at the funeral, which I thought was a great way to let people know that you've passed on, to have like a setup recording.
Yes, absolutely.
And be like, hey, this is my funeral. I don't want flowers. Just come and celebrate my life.
Right way. And he said, you know what,
It's too much.
Foolish.
It's stupid. He doesn't want to be involved, and more power to him.
How do you think Nancy's going to get out of the Halia situation next week? Because we see Nancy with a gun pointed to her face.
I didn't even see that.
And Halia comes in with, her little
Oh, right.
thug mafia.
Well, you know what? She wasn't involved in this dealing of the MILF.
Right.
So hopefully that'll all get cooled off pretty quickly when things are explained and the weed is returned to whom it belongs to.
It's just going to be a hot mess next
It's
week.
going to be a hot mess.
Like, everyone's going to be involved.
I wish they would give us like a full hour next week for the season finale, but I
would love
know
that.
that they won't.
Nope, don't even get your hopes up.
I know. It's not happening.
Well, thank you guys for joining us here tonight at the AfterBuzz Studios. Thank you to David Skiffalot.
Thank you.
And until next week with our season finale, we thank you and welcome you to join us next week. So, dude, come check us out, all right? Peace.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Dudes.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.